Hello folks, I am making another batch with one of Bulk Apothecary's Coco Chanel dupes, and this time I am using their Coco Chanel number 5 duplication. It smells really good. I have another brand that I purchased a sample of the same imitation of Chanel number 5, and I believe I like this one better. But I'll tell you more about the other one. But I just did like a small skin test for the fragrance, and I liked how Bulk Apothecary's developed way better than the other brand. But like I said, I'll show you when I'm making the other one. So today I'm doing a basic 2-pound batch. I don't want the oils to be too colored, but I do like to use my lye solution as half water and half kombucha tea, so it is fairly dark. But I'm going to compensate. I've added about 1.5 heaping tablespoons of white kaolin clay to my oils, and then as my other color I'm going to be using some rose kaolin clay to color about half of it, and then I'm going to do just like a side pour. Of course, I have not used this fragrance before. You can see it's fairly pale fragrance. It doesn't have any vanilla in it, so it should not discolor. I don't know how it's going to accelerate, so we're going to find that out. Depending on if it seems like it's going to thicken up, I might just do some layers and improvise as we go. But I'm going to mix my clay in first. Let's get that going. Hopes if I plug my thing in. Stick blenders don't work well without power. Funny. Okay. Now, I don't expect perfect white on my light layers. It's going to be discolored some from my liquid, but I'm partly trying it to see how the white kaolin and the oils offsets this. So that's kind of an experiment today too. I'm wanting to learn that. Okay. I'm just choosing to put it through the sieve with the humidity here. It had gotten some chunks, and although I tried to break them up, you always have that risk, and there's just a few there you can see. So I'm glad I used the sieve. I just always like to rinse my stuff to lessen chance of accidents. Alright, I'm not going to blend this heavily because I want it to remain somewhat fluid if possible, not knowing how the fragrance is going to affect it yet. Okay, so that is definitely emulsified already. And I'm going to divide it out roughly half and half in my containers here. So it's still fairly brown from that liquid. I could have left half of it in this container, but I want to deal with pouring with the smaller containers. And I do recycle these containers. We go through phases in the summer mostly where we want coleslaw or potato salad, and these containers recycle very well. I can reuse them several times. And so, hey, why not reuse them? Okay. So now adding the rose kaolin clay is going to cause it to thicken up a bit too. Because clay absorbs water, and I did not add water to it first. I'm just adding it dry, so that will actually cause it to accelerate some too. So I may end up doing layers, but we'll see. I don't want it to be a huge contrast. It doesn't need to be. So I'm going to add about a teaspoon's worth is what it is. Let's see how that looks. And I will whisk it in. I just figured adding something with a little bit of mauve or paint color I should have added water to the powder, probably. It would have prevented me from needing to stick blend it to get the spots out. I kind of like that. I'm going to add a little more, though, for the color difference. I kind of like that, though. I think it'll be nice. Keep that fluid. And add about 3/4 of a teaspoon. There, that'll be nice. Yeah, that'll be plenty of contrast. I was just trying to do something simple with this one because when I do my regular Coco Chanel Mademoiselle, I did like this fancy fan shape, which I like how it turned out and it was fun, but it is definitely more time consuming. And I'm testing this fragrance kind of. I'm pretty sure I'm going to like it, but I don't want to complicate it. I just want to do something simple. Okay. Let it come off. There we go. Alright. And if it's still fluid enough at the top, my plan is to start with the darker, like do a larger ratio of the darker color on the lower part and make it be a little more pale towards the top. Leave the top white to add some pretty pink botanicals. I have some blossoms I saved from our redbud tree last year, and I may put some of those and possibly some rose petals, but we'll see. Alright, so, okay, I thought I was ready. I will use this to tilt it. And I will do this. Okay, and my table's not level. One of these days I'll get it level, but for now I'm just improvising. You, I'm sure, understand. Get this out of the way. Oh, well, you know what? I bet you already saw what I messed up on. It would help if I put fragrance in it, wouldn't it? Okay. Kind of hard to find out how the fragrance is going to do if you don't put it in. Ended up with a little more in the pink, but it's not seizing, not yet anyway. I'm not going to pour that other out though. It's not worth it. It'd be real messy and stuff. So, you see how easy it is to forget stuff. But if I hadn't had it sitting out already, sitting there in my little vial, looking at me, I might have forgot it completely. I was thinking, will I smell it? But that's because I had it sitting in the vial. Okay, so, that's good. Here we go, and you know what? Look, it's not getting thicker. It's not setting up. In fact, it almost smoothed it out a bit. So it's possible this fragrance actually will help with types of pours that you want a little more time, or at least not slow it down. So that's neat. Okay, and still this one too, see, it's actually more fluid, I think. It almost feels like it's warming up in the pot, interestingly. Alright. I'm going to switch sides. Just because I can. Can you still see it? I'll move it over a little bit. I know I have an awkward setup, but I'm trying. Alright, I'm going to have to set it flat now. I'll also put this underneath it. Okay. I am not planning on any kind of stirring of it. I'm just going to leave it as it lays now. How it turns up is how it turns up. Well, I have been very pleased with how this fragrance has performed, and it smells so good. It goes through some changes. When I first opened it up out of the bottle, it had a bit of a smell that I didn't care for, actually, and I thought, oh no, here I have 2 ounces of this fragrance. But all in all, I think it's going to turn out okay. I look forward to when it's cut. The other one, the regular Chanel that I got from Bulk Apothecary, I only literally used a half an ounce. Well, just a smidge over. Not enough to say it's 3/4, maybe 3/5 of an ounce if you were to describe it as that. And that was plenty for a 2-pound batch of oils, for my taste. It's definitely one of the strongest fragrances I've used it. And it stayed true. It didn't morph into something weird. And I'm hoping this ends up being the same way. I'm just pouring some of my extra into second airy mold. Something I can slice up and use as samples. I've just learned it's nice to have something for samples without having to cut up another bar, one of my regular bars, which I will do. But if I just allow for a little bit of extra I can pour into another bar, then I have my full amount of bars from my loaf to sell or give away. Well, I'm just being all messy here. Okay. See, that has a dot in it. Ooh, I can. That fragrance smells really good. It's a creamy, it's floral, but it has much more depth than just a floral. It's really pretty. It has a warmth, and like I smell a little bit of, I don't want to say woodsy, but it's a fresh floral, but with warmth also. I'm not very good at describing them, I know. I'm going to put the florals on the other side. Later. Ooh, messy. Messy, messy, messy. You probably wonder what I'm doing. I should have poured some of this first one in the other one, so I'm just doing it. So I kind of have 2 more even size bars. Okay, that will work. Now I'll put them up. I had a spray bottle of alcohol somewhere, but it's disappeared. Okay, so Alright, now let's see. These are my blossoms that I saved from my red bud from last year, and they've held their color really well. I'm not sure, these colors don't quite go together. And then these are blossoms, gosh, my jar is all sticky from fingerprints, from my pineapple sage last year. They've held their color really well too. I think I will use them. I thought about using rose blossoms, but I said I had them out already, and I don't know where they're at. So I'm just going to use what I got here. And well, no, I might put a few of the others, but just for some contrast. Nah, thought about it. Yeah, why not? Just a few, just a very few of these. Kind of like do 2 rows. Listen to me. So just a little bit. I'm putting them on thicker. You ever do that? Just get into it. Okay. It smells so good. Yeah, in the next, I don't know, couple weeks, I will try out some of the fragrances that I ordered. I ordered, like I said, a Chanel No. 5, a Chanel Blue, which is more, supposed to be more for men, but it really smells unisex. And I'm just drawing a blank on the company I ordered them from right now. But I will be trying those out, and I will show you how those work as well, because I don't know anything about them. Out of the bottle, for the most part, I'm thinking they don't smell quite as good. But, like, they have more of a cheap chemical-y smell. They don't smell totally like a cheap candle, but they don't smell as pure to me or as high quality as the Bulk Apothecary versions. But I did order a couple of them that smell pretty good, so I look forward to trying them, and I will share that. Okay, I like that better than I thought I would. The 2 colors side by side, I like that. And sometimes these pineapple sage, I noticed when they were like during a heavy pollination stage, when I collected the flowers, they would leach out a little bit of a yellow color. So that's just something to keep in mind. Nothing unworkable, but I guess that's something you have to be careful of when you harvest your own flowers. And the red buds, I don't remember anything leaching out from them, any colors. Okay, that's enough. Need something else. There. That'll be sufficient, I think. Alright, what do you think? Is that enough? It makes me want more of these. I really was afraid with the florals that this would speed up, and it has not. It has not sped up. I'm really pleased with that. I think I mentioned it, but I did only use just over a ½ ounce of this as well, because it smells strong, just like the regular Coco Chanel Mademoiselle. Alright, I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to leave it alone now. Just step away. Just step away. Alright, so only thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to put it in the oven for just a little bit, because I really prefer my stuff to go through gel stage. It's very fluid, so I'll have to be careful how I'm doing it. But I hope you can see it. I'm looking forward to seeing how it cuts and how it looks. How my simple little swirl turned out. I think it'll be pretty. And I'll show you when I cut it. Alright, thanks for watching, y'all. Bye. Okay, folks. So I've already cut up my loaf. It was about 12 hours before I cut them, and they were still a little soft, but they were hard enough to cut, so I went ahead and did it, and I thought I'd show you them. I like how the swirl turned out. These are just a couple examples. There's not a whole lot of variety. It's basically the same pattern from one end to the other, just some of the little rows might be a little thicker than the other. And the botanicals on top, I pressed them a little bit too much into the batter, and so the pH of the batter did cause some discoloration, especially in the red buds. They got pushed further in, and you can see they lost some of their pink, except the ones that are poking up a little more. But I like how they turned out still. And I do like this fragrance. Usually I wait about a week to really have an idea of how it's truly going to develop, because with the kombucha, there's always a tiny bit of a scent from that part of the saponification with the kombucha. And so after about a week, then you can really tell better the true aspect of the fragrance. But I do like it. It's a nice, feminine, fresh, a little bit green, just a nice blend of different feminine florals, but yet a little bit of an earthy note too. It's well balanced. I really like this fragrance. And again, it was by Bulk Apothecary, the Coco Chanel number 5. So I just thought I'd show you that. I'll add a couple pictures on of the finish. And I noticed too, I think it's because my camera is fighting the white background with the natural light coming in. The rose clay is actually a little more brighter than it turns out in these pictures. It looks kind of brown in the video, in my video screen, but the bars actually they look like red clay. So the rose clay. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I'll keep you posted as I try the other fragrances. Have a good day. Bye.